Hi, it's Kristina from Proven Winners ColorChoice Shrubs, and today we're talking about planting shrubs with tools, what you're going to need with the tool expert.
Thanks, Chris from Corona Tools here. I am so glad that you are here as the expert to really tell people what they need and how to take care of their plants. So what's first?
Yeah, so when you get to the garden center, you might see a shrub like this. There are a lot of spent blooms here, and you might be thinking, is this still good? Is this worth buying? And the answer is an unequivocal yes. There is so much life left in this plant. All it needs is a little prune. So to get started planting, you might want to prune your shrub first because it'll be much easier to prune in the pot than when it's in the ground. There are a couple things you'll want to do. Maybe you'll have some gloves, or if you've got hands of steel like we do, then you don't need them. Let's prune this rose, and make sure that you're always cutting just above a set of leaves, no matter what plant you're pruning.
And so would you prune this limb that seems to be a little bit awkward? I mean, do you want to prune it up so that it has a good shape?
Yeah, I would. I think it's good to consider the shape of the plant that's going to go into your garden, and especially if it's going to be seen from all angles.
So it's okay to cut off a big chunk like that, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Here's a question, like on this particular limb, if there's growth that's already started, is that a good indicator that's where you need to prune it back to?
Great, that'll be great.
And when it comes to these oh so easy roses, do you have to deadhead them?
No, they will definitely set bloom without deadheading. They do not need to be deadheaded to produce the new growth for buds. So our plant is pruned and we can get ready to get it into the ground. Now, if you're planting in an area that already has mulch, you're going to want to clear away the mulch so that the soil doesn't get combined. So we're ready to rake away our mulch. Chris, do you want to tell me a little bit about what you have in your hands?
Yeah, this is a shrub rake. You'll notice that it's very short, very small, and it's really designed to get in up and under the plants so that you're not disturbing any of the roots at the surface, but you're able to get all the things that are up against the base of the plant that could cause infection or diseases.
Great, and we can use it in this situation just because it's light mulch and easy to have on hand. So we're going to clear a space that's pretty big, just so that, like I said, the soil doesn't get combined with the mulch. So we've got our nice big space for the planting hole to go, and now we're obviously going to dig our hole. But you need the right shovel to do that, because soil is different everywhere you live, right?
Absolutely. One of the biggest things to keep in mind is the thickness of your shovel. If you've got hard, compacted soil, I can assure you, you're going to need a thicker gauge metal. And what to look for when you go to the garden center, the smaller the number, the thicker the metal. Okay,
that's a great tip to make sure that we're not bending shovels and doing more work than we need to do. So when you're digging the hole for your new shrub, you're going to make the hole twice as wide as the container. So we've got a 1 gallon pot, so it's not going to be a huge hole, but in terms of depth, it's only going to be as deep as the shrub because you want the soil surfaces to be level. So let's get started.
So real quick, do you need to add anything to this hole before you plant? Any sort of thing like amendments or fertilizer?
No. And there are some more videos about why we feel that way, but no, we don't. Now that we've got our hole, you'll notice that I put the soil around the outside of the hole, and that just makes it easier to fill it back in with that same native soil. So we've got our plant. What we're going to do is put it in and see how level it is with the soil surface. And the pot comes up a little higher than that soil surface, but it looks like it is going to be level. So when you are going to take your plant out of the pot, I recommend tipping it over and keeping your hand level on the soil surface and removing the pot like that, gently, so that the plant can stay healthy and then that main trunk doesn't get damaged.
So I have a question now.
Yeah.
Are these roots, do you need to loosen them up and everything to get it ready for planting? Like, do you need to cut through them that's always a question that I have or that I've been asked.
Yeah, so definitely you'll always want to loosen up the roots, but I think most of the time this can be done by a vigorous kind of just scratching around at the roots like this. But if you've got a really root-bound plant, it looks like you've got a really great tool in your hand for something like that.
Yeah, this is great for just cutting into the root balls and being able to loosen that up.
Great. So if you had a root-bound plant, you'd want something like that beautiful Hori knife. So now that we've got our plant out of the pot, you're going to place it in the hole and just make sure that it is still level with the soil surface, and it is. And then as you go to fill in the soil back into the hole, you're just going to firm it in around the plant. And this helps prevent air pockets from forming around the roots. All right, so we've got our shrub all planted. The soil is nice and patted down around it. We're gonna move the mulch back in around the plant, making sure that the mulch doesn't actually touch any of the stems. Looks like you've got a handy tool there,
You're
Chris.
using your gloves. I'm using an extra large scoop so that I don't have to get my hands dirty.
Perfect.
Not that there's anything wrong with getting your hands dirty in the garden.
We could even scoop that, the extra mulch back into this beautiful wheelbarrow if you wanted to, or scoop it out of the wheelbarrow. There are so many uses for that tool. Now we've got our shrub beautifully planted, mulch is replaced, and the last thing to do is apply some water. And we'll do that. And now we've got this beautifully planted shrub thanks to using the right tools for the job.
And it looks amazing.
It does. Thanks so much for watching, and if you have any questions about anything we saw today, please ask in the comments below. And if you want to learn any more about our amazing plants, please go to provenwinnerscolorchoice.com. And if you want to learn anything about the tools that we used,
To coronatoolsusa.com.
so we've got a
Scoop,
beautifully new
there it
planted
is.
shrub.
Scoop, there it is. Sorry.